Argentina. It has 2 stars in it, saying that it has won the World Cup twice. When I first arrived at Argentina 4 years ago, that was when the last World Cup was held, and Argentina was the finalist, but unfortunately was beaten by the national team of Germany. I also bought one of these clothes to show my support towards the team of Argentina. At that time, this shirt was sold out all over the country. Mine is actually from the children's section. You can see that the team Argentina is so popular, of course, among the local citizens. And even back in China, we have a lot of fans rooting for Argentina, as well as Leo Messi. And it used to be quite fun to talk about football and talk about Messi here in Argentina. But now we are at a somewhat tricky situation because Argentina is facing so much difficulty, even to prevent itself from being eliminated from the first round, from the preliminary round. So in the first match, Argentina was forced into a draw with Iceland. It's a 0-0. It was, of course, not a happy result for the fans, but they still had a lot of hope because it's only the first round. And when we were doing the interview, they said that they are quite confident because the Iceland are quite good at defense, and Messi does not has any opportunity to show what he has got. But 2 days ago, when Argentina finished the second round against Croatia, they lost 0-3. The Argentina is really a country which is crazy about football. It's not only the local Argentina people, but some of our Chinese colleagues, they are very disappointed about the result. The neighbor countries such as Uruguay have already go to the second round at an early stage. But I believe that they are not as crazy as the Argentina fans about football. So this result was, of course, quite a disappointment to the local people. At the capital of Argentina, Buenos Aires, in the St. Martin Square, there will be a big screen where a lot of fans would gather to root for their team. But 2 days ago, in the second round, a lot of fans were gathered there, and towards the end of the match, they began to evacuate the square very quietly without saying anything. And very soon, the square was almost emptied. When everyone left, there are only reporters there still doing some report of the match, but almost all of the fans had left. At that day, walking on the street, I felt that the entire country fell into misery. Everybody was talking about the match. The guards, the policemen, and guests at the cafe, and boys and girls were all talking about football, about this tragic loss. So almost everyone is following closely the performance of the Argentina team. But so far, their performance was proven to be a huge disappointment. And the local media also criticized harshly the performance of Argentina to be one of the worst performances in history. Because Argentina is traditionally a very strong country in football, so people naturally had a lot of expectations. In the past, it was There are also the experiences being eliminated at the preliminary round, but this time people believe that we have Messi or Aguero and Higuain. A lot of these huge stars who are playing at the La Liga, they are star players. People expect them to do better than eliminated at the preliminary round. But the first 2 rounds of this competition proved to be not so ideal. In the second match last night, Nigeria beat Iceland 2-0, leaving a slight hope for Argentina. But still, people were not satisfied. Messi's performance in Argentina never matched his performance in the club, in Barcelona FC. People think that Messi had they underperform and let a lot of people down with his performance in the national team of Argentina. The criticism never ends. Maradona, known as the football king in Argentina, despite some of his misbehaviors in the past years, he still managed to get a World Cup for Argentina. But on the contrary, Messi had let the Argentina fans down. For fans in China who stayed up overnight to watch the game, you would probably feel more disappointed. It is, without a doubt, an unsatisfactory performance. He waited for other people to pass the football to him instead of fighting and running to get control of the situation. That has triggered a lot of dissatisfaction among media and fans. And other fans also voiced their complaints against the coach, Sampaoli. I've been spending several years in Argentina now and followed closely the team of Argentina. I am not a genuine football fan, knowing not a lot of technical terms and knowledge, but being in Argentina, it's hard not to be affected by their zeal and passion towards football. So positively or negatively, I received a lot of information about football here in Argentina. A lot of people would think that the fans of Messi probably spoke too highly of Messi, but I believe that he is without a doubt one of the best players, most talented players in the world right now. Despite the fact that he did not manage to win a World Championship for Argentina, but he did lead Argentina to finals 3 times. But there are a lot of factors deciding whether you can win the final. But being in a final would mean that you have already made a lot of efforts. So that's one good thing about Messi. He always represented Team Argentina. He went to Barcelona at the age of 12. His growth, his performance were almost all achieved in Spain, in Barcelona, in Spain. So he has basically won the nationality of Spain. He is a person with both nationalities of Spain and Argentina. If he represented Spain in the World Cup, he would have won the World Cup long ago, probably. But I've watched some interview of Messi when people ask him if he's interested in representing Spain in World Cup. But he said that my wish from a child is to represent Argentina. So if it was only for, personal achievement to win a World Cup for himself, he could have just represented Spain and got what he wanted. But despite all the criticism, he insisted to stay in Team Argentina. They criticized that he did not do well and he did not contribute enough to the national team. Despite all of his criticism, he continued to stay in the team and fight for his country. So I believe that is something that we should give him a lot of credit for that. Another criticism towards Messi is that when he said that when he was playing for Barcelona, people praised him. He gave him a lot of comments and positive comments. But when I was playing for Argentina, there are more criticism. So should it be like vice versa? See, he was somewhat disappointed because he got a lot of praise in Barcelona. That's a foreign country to him. Internationally, he has received a lot of recognition, such as the Golden Ball and World Player of the Year from FIFA. But back in his country, in his home country, there was a lot of criticism, and that must been somewhat also sad for him to know that. This is exactly the block where Leo Messi was born. We were here a few months ago searching for his birthplace, but failed at the first. This is his hometown, and it's strange that we did not find a trace of his birthplace. We went to a lot of efforts to finally determine that this is where he was born. This looks like your normal blocks. It's a residential area. But right now you can see a lot of paintings on the wall, these murals, and also the painting that is in the color red, in a color white and blue, which is the color of the national flag of Argentina. These paintings was actually painted only half a month ago. We can do a replay of the of the video that records how the artists were painting these murals about half a month ago.
I
also play football. I watch Messi's performance in Barcelona. I believe that's a great honor for us to work near the block where he was born. We are proud of him, and this whole country and whole block is proud of him. In his old neighborhood, we see that these painters are painting these murals, and it's a positive message to all the kids and football players. Part of this wall, the painting of the wall is handed over to the kids. The kids also participated in this activity. From the footage that we just showed you, we can see that this group of artists painted these murals only half a month ago. There are altogether 31 murals. And right now we are at the entrance of the block. You can see a very big murals at the back. These are not newly painted. It has been here for relatively longer time. There are a lot of images of planets showing that Messi is so good to be a man from Earth. It almost seems like he's from another planet. Here you can see his uniform. At the back of the suit, it said that Messi is from another planet, but also he's from my block. Now let's go into the block to check out the house where he was born and where he grew up. This is where it all started. His football career, his love for football, and then he marched to Barcelona from exactly this block. The murals here were also painted about 2 months ago. Some artists, not only from Argentina but also from neighboring countries such as Chile, also came here to do this kind of artistic work. Rosario is one of the more shabby neighborhood here in Argentina. known for its very bad social security. So this block where Messi was born is not one. It's not one of those secure neighborhood here in Rosario. When he was born, this is one of the poorer neighborhood in Rosario. He also, when he became more famous and more and better off, he bought other houses in better neighborhoods, but his old house still remains here. You can see a lot of white and blue here, which is the color of the national flag. This is one of the murals painted by the artist not long ago. This is also a way to strengthen the integrity at this neighborhood. We were undergoing some signal breaks up, for which we apologize. As I was saying, to enhance the integrity between neighborhoods, the artist also invite some kids from the same neighborhood to participate in this artistic activities. Here at the crossroads, you can see more mural paintings. We were experiencing some signal breakups, so we marched relatively quickly. But the birthplace of Messi was actually located at the road we just passed. This house you're looking at is where he was born. This house is right now deserted and looks quite unfurnished. And this is where the internationally known football star was born. In a lot of places, having a big stars such as Messi, the local government would build a old residence, a museum, but there's no trace of him. Basically, no trace of him here in this neighborhood. There's basically nothing you can find here. We also have we were also lost when trying to find his residence, his old house. At that time, when he was little, he spent his childhood here playing football with his friends under the chaperone of his grandma. During this year's World Cup, the Argentina uniform also were sold out. As you can see, that's number 10 uniform. That's Messi celebrating with his teammates. people would never imagine that Argentina would come to such a difficult situation when they were painting these murals. Speaking of the criticism towards Messi, it also reminds me of one of the interviews just before this World Cup. Messi said, "The fans from back home expected so much from us. If we did not do well this time, we would probably just choose to vanish from Earth." And today we still have one trace of hope left. We would have our fingers crossed, praying that Argentina can go further in this World Cup. And today we have a special guest with us. He used to be Messi's neighborhood when he was little. When someone asked Messi about what he wanted to change, what he regretted the most in his life, he answered, "I've wanted to go back 4 years in the World Cup final against Germany when I was kicking the ball towards the goal. It was during the overtime that Germany scored 1 goal and then secured a victory of the match." At the time, Messi also kicked the ball towards the goal but missed it by just an inch. He said that I could have done it, I could have scored it. So he said that he really wanted to go back to that time and do it again, and probably this time he can score, and that would win the World Cup for Argentina. So it was really disappointing for Messi to lost the final 4 years ago. I believe that he really had come a long way. We can first do a shot of the exterior of this residence. That's the residence of his neighbor. I don't think he's home. Yesterday, we actually talked to him, saying that we'll probably do an interview today, but he was not here. So I will just tell you what he said to me yesterday. He showed me a photo of him and Messi when he was younger and playing for Team Argentina. He also said Messi is such a big star right now, but he would sometime during the Christmas or something, he would come back to Rosario and to be with his family, and also visited some of his old neighbors. He never forgets where he comes from. From this we can see that he is quite a modest person, very low-key, comparing to some other high-profile international football stars. Speaking of being low-key, we have another video footage that was shot some time ago. Messi's family invested in a restaurant in Rosario. So basically, for a star, if he invested in a restaurant, there will probably have a lot of decorations, a lot of things and signals to remind who the owner is. But Messi's restaurant has no such things. There's no very obvious signals saying that this is a restaurant invested by his family. We talked to the manager, and he said that also Messi would come back to this restaurant to have dinner, and some football fans would come over asking for photos or autograph from him, and he would always satisfy their needs. So he is a very modest and generous and low-key person. I also have something to say about the Argentina Football Association, the AFA. People would criticize the Chinese Football Association for not doing their job, but the AFA is not any better. The chairman of AFA, when he was elected, there are altogether 75 votes, among which 36 is against him and 36 for him. If you do the counting, that would add up to 1 vote more than the number of the voters, which was also criticized by the media. So as you can see, Adidas is the sponsor for the Argentina uniforms. But when Messi first showed up in Russia, he was wearing a Nike jacket, which is also criticized by the sponsor. This is also one of Messi's old neighbor. Let's ask him what was his impression of Messi. It was a very interesting story. He was actually friends with Messi's brother. And he said that Messi would spend 10 hours out of a day to play football. And he also lived with Messi in his house for some time. He was saying that Messi was this tall, about 5 years old, and he already shown a great passion for football. Football is all he could think about wherever he was. He was only 5, but he was already showing great talents.
因为现在阿根廷队的这个状况出现比较堪忧啊，我们看看他有一些什么样的想法。
complicado, la verdad. Futbolísticamente está complicado, pero
What do you think of his performance? You're in the World Cup.
De Rosario tenemos mucha fe, porque no solamente para nosotros es Lionel Messi, el mejor jugador del mundo, sino también un vecino, un hermano, un amigo, un familiar, un primo. Entonces, nosotros más que cualquiera en el mundo estamos a muerte con Lionel.
其实答案也是可以预见的呀，因为梅西就是出生于这个。
The answer is to be expected.
那么当然。
He was born here. His old neighbors, his old friends here in Rosario supported Messi and the team Argentina firmly, hoping that they could go further. Let's confirm if Messi would come back very often. I asked him whether Messi would come back very often. But he himself was not here for some time. As far as he remembered, Messi came back in 2005. He came back to this neighborhood after achieving great victory in Barcelona. And in that year, they played a 2-against-2 football. The rule is that whoever can score 6 goals can win a bottle of soda. So he was on the opposite side with Messi and his cousin. And his team almost won 5-4, and Messi just called the match off, saying that this is it, and he left. Nobody ended up buying the soda. So it's really a fun story. I don't know whether it is authentic, but it's still very fun to hear.
好了，那我们今天的这个一个探访这个邻居的任务也完成了。现在我们再往看哪边的信号比较好，再稍微走一走，带大家，然后我们就今天就差不多了。估计大家也准备要看第二场比赛了。Gracias。我们在结束之后呢，会再回来跟他再聊一聊。有一个事情我突然想起来，就是
We'll probably come back to talk to him.
他的这个
Messi had a nickname called the Flea.
他的这个昵称。可能是他，所以说靠近。我记得我这个世界杯的一个解说啊，那个评论部用跳蚤来代替梅西，说就拿跳蚤来跳蚤来代替梅西。
We were experiencing some signal breakups, for which we apologize.
再没有听到跳蚤这个词，他们解说就直接在说啊，梅西。
But you seldom heard this nickname again. I asked some of my friends why nobody mentioned this nickname, because I was quite impressed by this nickname.
对大家觉得用跳蚤作为他的一个昵称，大家就知道哦，原来是梅西。那现在梅西个人已经是足够的有这个实力，所有人都叫他梅西，所有人。
Because he is such a big star now, and everybody knows his name, and he was quite well established. Therefore, seldom people would use this flea again, this nickname again. There are a lot of murals.
大家可能重点不是来关心这个壁画的这个区，所以我想大部分的这个目的我们还是能达到的。
But our major aim today is to show you the neighborhood where Messi was born.
到现在这个特别有点让大家难以接受啊。我们当时
The performance of Team Argentina this year is not quite satisfactory. We did some interview with TYC, which is the sports channel biggest sports channel of Argentina. I asked one of the commentators to make a projection of the preliminary rounds, and he said that I think it's easy for us to secure 3 wins in a row. He was in Russia right now, commentating on these games. I don't know what he felt right now, but it's a fact that Argentina had already lost 2 games in a row. So Argentina will have to win Nigeria in the next match, but also whether they can go to the next round would depend on the result of the other 2 teams.
大家可能对梅西
So their fate is not in their hands anymore. Hopefully, through today's broadcast, you can know more about Messi. To be honest, I am not quite a professional football fan. I might not be know much about football, but I consider myself more or less a fan of Messi. So I would very much like to share some stories that I heard in Messi's hometown.
现在这个现状，可能大家不要忘了，
The situation of Team Argentina is quite undesirable, but let's not forget that they almost got eliminated. They almost didn't make it to the World Cup.
进不了了嘛。然后在最后一场比赛中，最后是阿根廷客场在厄瓜多尔。
In the last match of the preliminary round, Messi secured a position in World Cup only in the last game against Ecuador. When he scored that goal in Ecuador, you would hear the commentators yelling "goal."
当时解说非常的激动，说这个进球是带我们进。
The commentator was so exciting, saying that this goal is the key that lets the Team Argentina into World Cup. And Argentina is right now facing more or less the same situation as that game, because there's only one match left, and whether they can go to the next round depends on this match. So the country's expectations are all left on the shoulders of Messi and his teammates. Let us hope that he can do well in the last game and not affected by these negative criticism. It is a big pressure for him, but we hope that he can really become the next Maradona and step up when he was needed the most. Last but not least, I want to say that I remember Messi once said in one of the interviews, when the reporter asked him where he would like to be here. And he said, whenever you ask this question, his answer would be, I want to be in Rosario. That's where we are at now. His hometown, his home. I believe that it must be a difficult time for Messi. He probably wants to go back here, but I hope that he can stick to the commitment. He can hold on and lead Argentina team to the next round. Today is Today is June the 23rd, and Messi's birthday is also at this week. We also want to wish him a happy birthday. If Team Argentina can go to the next round, it will probably be the best birthday present for him. On that note, would end today's live broadcast. Hope you can continue to follow the performance of Team Argentina and Messi and his performance in his career in later days. Thank you.